Are you ready for some pretty shocking statistics? The latest autism research study found that 37% of children with autism lost their diagnosis. Wow, that is profound, right? Let's learn the science in the study. Hi, I'm Dr. Teresa Lyons. I teach parents the cutting-edge science of autism so that you can make the best decision for your child based on quality information. Losing the autism diagnosis is a controversial topic. Please note, I'm not expressing any opinions here. I'm guiding you through the science so that you know what is possible for your child. This study has used a new phrase, and that's non-persistent autism. In the past, researchers used to call the no longer qualifying for an autism diagnosis, they used to call it an optimal outcome. I'm not sure if the term non-persistent autism will replace optimal outcome in the scientific literature. I just want you to be aware that the scientific and medical field struggles with what to call it. It's not a question of can it happen, but they're just not sure what to call it. This study was done in Massachusetts and it was published in October 2023. The study involved 213 participants. That's a pretty significant study size. All participants were diagnosed with autism between the ages of 12 months and 30. And the researchers studied the children at age 5 through 7. That's when they were able to see that 37% of those in the study lost their diagnosis and had non-persistent autism. We're going to dive deep into this research article that was published October 2023 about the persistence of autism, because it's really important as a parent that you have this information. And there's also some very interesting studies that you should be aware of so that you can make the best decisions for your child. This is a quote from that research article. While older studies have reported that intervention was associated with robust, healthy developmental improvement, newer reports, including a Cochrane review, suggest that behavioral interventions for young children with autism do not consistently reduce autism severity. Okay, what does this mean for you as a parent? Well, if your intuition is telling you something that a particular behavioral therapy is not working, trust your gut. It's a really old thinking and old research that 40 hours of ABA is what is solely needed as a treatment for autism. The research does not support that theory. Losing the autism diagnosis is not anything new. It's been happening for decades. Prior studies have shown that the rates of persistence of autism for children diagnosed at a young age range from 68% to even 100%. Okay, let's get back to the research from 2023 and look at the study design. This was a natural history cohort study, which means there was 213 participants from this large academic hospital system. The children were diagnosed when they were between the ages of 12 and 36 months. And when they were diagnosed, they were not part of any research study. Since they were part of this large academic hospital system, then the researchers were able to tap into that database and construct a study, and then reach out to the parents and have a reassessment when the children were between the ages of 5 to 7 years old. And all of this happened between 2018 and 2022. You can see it takes a long time to gather data. Can you imagine 4 years? It took 4 years just to collect that data. In this study, researchers found that 37% did not continue to meet diagnostic criteria for an autism diagnosis. That means they lost their autism diagnosis. It was not persistent. Another phrase is also optimal outcome. How, right? That's probably what you're thinking right now. How? Everybody's wondering how. How did these parents do it? Parents provided demographic data of themselves through a questionnaire completed for the study, and parents also reported specific types and hours per week of each behavioral intervention received from 1.5 years old until the research assessment. As you can imagine, that's a lot of paperwork for these parents, and this is what they recorded. So it was either ABA, RDI, ESDM, OT, PT, developmental specialist, floor time, play group, social communication, emotional regulation, or transactional support. These are what the choices were for the parents to explain what they did. So that's all the parents could report back on what they did based upon the study design. I really wish the researchers had asked better questions and also broader questions. Let's get to the discussion of this research report. Here's a quote directly from the research article. Children with higher baseline adaptive functioning scores and girls were more likely to have non-persistent autism versus persistent autism. While all the children in the sample received interventions and most received autism-specific behavioral intervention, intensity of the intervention in the 18 months after autism diagnosis was not associated with autism persistence. That's extremely important to understand. Intensity of those interventions was not correlated with outcome. When these researchers were discussing another study that showed non-persistent autism, the researchers quoted in that article, in that study, for every additional month between initial diagnosis and follow-up evaluations, children showed a 1.3-fold increase in likelihood of losing the autism diagnosis. That means the more time there was between diagnosis and follow-up, the more likely it was that the child would lose their autism diagnosis. That goes exactly opposite from which a lot of people are believing in mainstream, right? Mainstream media says that autism just gets worse. It doesn't have to. But think about it. It makes sense, right? As a parent, you've got to figure out what's causing the health issues with your child. That takes time, and it takes time to address it. And yes, it's important to take action quickly, but it's more important to take knowledgeable action. Confused by all the information about autism? I can help you out. Click the link below to see how we can work together. Let me break down the science and provide you with a clear, actionable step to make your path forward easier. And here's a very important discussion part of the article, and a quote again. The methods of this study did not allow us to determine whether children with non-persistent autism improve because of inherent differences in their development or because of interventions they receive. End quote. I'm going to input here that the scientists are lacking a complete analysis in so many other areas of health and interventions. I mean, just from the base vitamin D stat. What was their vitamin D stat? So important and so basic. This study is really just scratching the surface of what's possible. This study proves again that it is possible, so that's great. So if you have any doubt in your mind of what's possible, just know the scientific literature says it is possible to lose the autism diagnosis. Scientists are not 100% clear yet on how this is happening. Parents know it, doctors know it, certain parents, certain doctors, and that's what they need to study next. We discussed this in the beginning of the video, and it is a very important piece of information to understand. Statistical analysis revealed no association between the highest number of hours per week of interventions received in the first 18 months after the autism diagnosis and persistence of autism. Many times during this journey, parents, your intuition says, you know what, this behavior aspect, it's not working. Either the child's like crying all the time, or they don't want to go, or it just doesn't feel right. It's so important for you as the parent to see the scientific literature so that you know you can follow your intuition, follow your gut instinct. Because out there in the mainstream, there's statements like 40 hours of ABA per week. That's absolutely what you got to do. Always, intensively, all the time. And that's not true if you look at the science. Not only is that not true, that's not what is published in the scientific literature specifically with kids who lose their autism diagnosis. Furthermore, children with non-persistent autism had gradually decreasing intensity of the behavioral intervention over time in comparison with those with persistent autism. Before we wrap up, I encourage you to share your experiences or tips in the comment section below. Has your child lost any of their initial autism symptoms? Have they lost the entire diagnosis? If your child no longer has autism, please comment below too, although you're probably not going to be watching this video on autism. Your insights could certainly help others in our community. Your experiences and tips are incredibly valuable to our community. By sharing your stories, you can help others facing similar challenges. Don't be silent, drop a comment below, and join the conversation. Your input not only supports others, but it also fosters a sense of community and shared understanding. Let's learn from each other and make this journey a little easier for everyone. We can't wait to read your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and remember, knowledge is power. Stay informed, stay empowered. See you soon.